So good morning students. So in last class I gave a small description or small introduction regarding torsion of circular as well as non-circular things. For circular, you already know from your basics of mechanics of solids, T by J is equal to tau by R is equal to g theta, right? And for non-circular shaft, we need to find it out by using the Sen-Venance method today. Okay, before that, the main important thing that happens in a non-circular shaft is warping, which is a scalar function in which has undergone plane deformation, which shows the quantity of plane deformation for a non-circular shaft under torsion. Okay, now you consider a non-circular shaft undergoing a torsion. So this is a shaft and this structure we don't know. I mean this size, this is not circular, that's all. It can be square, it can be ellipse, whatever it may be. Okay, this is a side view, right? Okay, now I assume that the torsion has been given in Z direction. This will be the Z direction, this is Y direction, and this will be the X direction, right? So this is the positive X direction and this is positive Y direction. Okay, now what I am going to do is that I'll cut a section 1 1, right? And in that 1 1 I will take this section, right? Okay, fine. And I took a point P, which is, say this is the center of this section or centroid of this section. From there, or better you consider this as a reference point 0. From there, the point P is in coordinates, having coordinates x, y, and it is inclined at an angle alpha with x-axis. Okay, right? Right. Consider a section 1 1 which is z distance away from the fixed left position. See, this is z is the distance. We are plotting a point with xy. We already plotted it in xy plane. This is xy plane, which is making an angle alpha with x direction. So that means if this is the origin, then from here to in x direction, this is like traveling x distance, and y direction it is traveling y distance. Okay. Now what happens if this object is undergoing torsion? If I am applying a torque, so each member twists, right? So this is making an angle. Say this is making this travels from P to P. The P travels after torsion and it reaches to P dash, right? Is that clear? Okay. Now the coordinates of P dash is x bar, comma x dash, comma y dash. That's all. That means from this point, this is traveling x dash and here y dash. And the important point is that from P, if you consider P, this is reducing its length in x and increasing its length in y. Is that clear? Okay. So here you have a negative x displacement and a positive y displacement, right? Okay. Now from this triangle, the initial triangle that we have plotted here, this is the initial triangle. Say this is OPM. Sin alpha is y by r and cos alpha is x by r. Okay, right. Now if I am applying the angle of twist as theta and this shaft or this section is at a distance z. Okay, so angle of twist per unit length is theta. Okay, and per unit length means into z. It is at a distance of z, right? So angle of twist at z distance will be z theta. I hope you are clear. Okay, so angle of twist per unit length is theta. So angle of twist for z distance from the left position will be z theta. Okay, I hope you are clear now. Okay, so I will plot a right triangle here, x bar, y bar. So from this point P, x has been reduced to this point N. This is x bar, y, x bar, and from this point y has been increased to y bar. Clear? So this up to here, sorry, this whole distance is y bar and this whole distance is x bar, right? Okay, now from here you know that this is an arc. If you make a tangent like this, it will be perpendicular, so this angle will be 90 degree, right? This angle, say this angle is 90 degree. Okay, now the arc length will be radius into included angle. So P dash is equal to R into this angle is z theta. Okay, that is equation number 3. Right, now if you analyze these two right triangles, see here this angle is alpha, this is 90, so this will be 90 minus alpha, and see this is 90 minus alpha, and this total angle is 90 degree, so this will be alpha, and this total is 90 degree, so if this is alpha, this will be 90 minus alpha, so this will be alpha. Okay, so now u is the distance in x direction, right? That means u is the distance of p of x. That means it was in the point p of x and it moves to a point p dash of x bar, right? So, and this is decreasing, right? So u is minus np. It is coming from here to this point, that is in negative x direction, so minus np, right? V is the distance of p of y, and it has reached a point p of y bar, about this distance. It is increasing, right? So this is np dash, which is positive. Okay, we got all these things. Now in this triangle, considering this triangle, this angle is alpha, then sin alpha is equal to u by, this is u and this is v. Okay, right? np and np dash, u by pp dash, u is minus pp dash sin alpha, v is pp dash cos alpha. Now you give the value of pp dash r z theta, we have already found it, right? Now pp dash is equal to r z theta. Applying in these two equations, you get u is equal to minus r z theta sin alpha and v is equal to r z theta cos alpha. Okay, now you have first two equations, sin alpha is equal to y by r and cos alpha equal to x by r. You apply this in equation instead of sin alpha and cos alpha, then you will get u is equal to minus r z theta into y by r, u is minus z theta y, and v is z theta into x. Now another important thing is that in z direction, displacement depends on x and y and angle of twist per unit length. That means if you are applying a torque here in z direction, that means here in this place there is no torsion happening. I mean, there is torsion, but it does not depends on z direction. It does not depends on z direction, rather it depends on x and y direction as well as theta. So that function is called as, in z direction, is called as warping. So, or in z direction, w is equal to theta into phi of xy. That means a function of x and y. That means where phi of xy is called warping or torsion function. Okay, now that means warping function, it is not, I already told that it does not depend on z direction. Okay, now with that in concept will conclude u, v and w values. Okay. Now we'll start the derivation. Up to here it's the basic things. Now you can just substitute these values in our equations that we have studied from module 1, right? Epsilon xx is dou u by dou x, epsilon yy is dou v by dou y, epsilon zz, these values you know. And dou u by dou x, there is no term x, this becomes 0, this becomes 0, this becomes 0, gamma xy, if you plus it, that will also become 0 actually. See, minus theta z plus theta z becomes 0. So you'll get gamma yz and gamma zx. There will be values for gamma yz and gamma zx. You just need to differentiate it and you'll get that, right? Okay. Now from here we got that epsilon x, strain in x, y, z and xy directions are 0. So using Hooke's law we can conclude that sigma x, sigma y, sigma z and tau xy representing these things. Okay, that will also be 0. Now tau yz by gamma yz is g, right? So tau yz is equal to g into gamma yz. Applying this in equation, tau yz you already, gamma yz you already found this value. Substitute here, you will get this equation. Tau zx also you will get this equation. Okay, now applying these values in equilibrium equations. Okay, apply in these equations, that means sigma x is 0, tau xy is 0, tau zx is 0. So this term, tau xz by dou z, right? So xz by dou z, there is no term here relating to z, so that becomes also, that's also 0. Here you have a function phi, but it just depends only on x and y. Okay, so this whole term 0. Now xy by x, tau xy is 0, sigma y is 0, tau yz. See, tau yz, is there anything related to z? No. Phi is related only to x and y. So that also becomes 0. Now dou sigma z by dou z, this becomes 0. But you have terms regarding these two. So if you differentiate this value, dou by I have explained this. First two equations are not satisfied. I mean, that is satisfied. The whole term becomes 0. The third term, tau xz, if you differentiate it with respect to x, you will get this value. Dou square phi by dou x square is equal to into g theta. And tau yz become dou square psi by, this is psi, sorry, not phi, psi by dou y square into g theta. If you add these two equations, you will get dou square psi by dou x square into g theta plus dou square psi by dou y square, g theta is equal to 0. You take g theta in common, it will go. Okay, so this is nothing but, if you consider dou square by dou x square plus dou square by dou y square as inverted del, then del square psi of g theta is equal to 0, del square psi is equal to 0. So the warping function psi of xy, already we know that we were studying the Laplace equations, the stress functions, all these things, where we found that say del power 4 phi is equal to 0. If this condition is happening, this is called as the system is in harmonic. System is harmonic, as well as this satisfies the Laplace equation. The same is the case here, right? Okay. Now this is the governing equation for torsion. So the questions can be asked such that whether you will be given a value for psi, you need to equate it to 0, then only it will be a possible governing possible function, possible warping function. Okay, that can be asked. Okay, this is similar to what we have done for stress functions also, right? Now next important thing is, we'll consider the boundary conditions. If this is object, we'll consider a small section which is having a distance delta s. Say the distance in x is delta dx and this is dy. Since this is going to negative direction, this is minus dx and this is dy. You already know that this angle is alpha, this is x and y. If a surface force or surface traction unit vector is acting in n direction, n cos x, n cos y, that means that will be the cosines, right? So here anx is dy by ds. See, anx means it is, if this is alpha, dx dy by ds, dy, this will be dy by ds, and ny is minus dx by, this is opposite, okay, dx by ds, okay. And nz, see here nz will come like this, right? Cos of, this is the z direction, so the distance is 90 degree. Angle is 90 degree, so cos 90 is 0, nz is equal to 0. Now substitute this in equation, this basic equation. Then from here also x, y, z, tau x, y, tau x, yx and anz is equal to 0. These two terms cancels and the equation, first and second equation becomes 0. The third equation, sz, there is no surface forces acting in this case, so sz is also 0. Sx, xy, everything is 0. So you will be left out with these two equations. Substitute the value of anx and ny here. Okay, nx and ny, these values you substitute, then you will get g theta into minus of y plus d psi by dx into anx plus g theta into x plus d psi by dy into ny. Substituting these values, you will get dy by ds here and minus dx by ds. So this is the final equation for Sengvenen's formulation. Okay, so this is very, very important. You might need to read this twice or thrice to understand, and this is very important. This has been frequently asked, and the following equations will also be asked. Okay, I hope that you got this. Okay, we'll go and solve the torque equation using Sengvenen's equation. So what do you mean by torque? Torque is nothing but force into displacement, right? Okay, so here torque is applied in z direction, and you know sigma z is 0. Only t zy and there is no stress in this direction since sigma z is 0. So only shear stresses happens here. So torque is equal to force into perpendicular distance. dt is equal to tau yz into dA into x minus tau xz dA into y. This is the force. Shear stress into area into x means tau yz. Tau yz is acting in this direction, and this distance, perpendicular distance, is called as, this is x, and zy, this distance is y. Okay, that's how this came, right? Like this. And you consider clockwise as positive and counterclockwise as positive and counterclockwise as negative, then you will get this formula. And you got dt is equal to x into tau yz minus y tau xz into dA, right? Okay, now you integrate this. Instead of dA, you can write dx dy. This is the area, dx into dy. So giving values for, since you are having dx dy, there will be double integration here. Now giving the values of tau yz and tau xz that we have already found, right? Here we already found the values of somewhere here. Yeah. So here we already found out the values of tau xy and see tau zx and tau yz. Okay, substitute these equations, these values here, and if you go on solving, this is just simply integrating these things. Actually it's not integrating, it's just you are expanding this, that's all. You'll get this equation. Okay, now while keeping this g theta outside, and if you analyze this equation, for circular section, T by J is equal to G theta. That means T is equal, torque is equal to G theta into J. Okay. So, this term, here also torque is equal to G theta into some term, this term. So, this will be equal to this J, right? Similar to this J. So, J integral, this is called as J integral, is given by, because you have two integrals. So, J integral is given by this equation. This is very important. Okay. So, this equation has to be formed. And you need to find out torque by using G theta into J is this thing, right? So, totally how to find the torque means you need to substitute in this equation. So, this derivation is very important. Okay, you watch this session twice or thrice and solve it yourself, then it will be very easy. Okay, if you know the concept, this is very easy. Don't mug up these things. Okay, just follow this. Okay, thank you.